So here in the Arctic National Wildlife Refuge up in Alaska, there is a huge reserve um, of oil. And so this is a huge issue that they want to actually break ground up in Alaska here to recover that oil and bring it down the transatlantic pipeline into Valdez or Valdez. So they're doing that right now, right here over here, but they people would like to also recover the oil in the wildlife refuge. And so, there becomes an environmental issue when are, we're trying to save animals and land and environments. And we're talking about possibly drilling into the ground there. And we know that there's huge environmental consequences to that. But elsewhere around the world, there's also oil, like we talked about before, here in the Middle East and also Venezuela, which is kind of a big thing in the news right now. Um, these 13 countries controls most of the world's oil supplies. They're part of an organization called OPEC, and so they have a really huge stronghold on, the oil market. And so the reason why is because they have the majority of the world's crude oil reserves, and so they really do control how much oil is being exported and how much it costs. And so because we are one of the largest users of oil, we really do need to concern ourselves with OPEC. So anytime you hear that in the news, you should definitely open your ears. So in as the years go by, our oil consumption is definitely going up. Again, this is kind of an older graph. However, you can see that there's a definite trend, although it does look like there's a little bit of a dip here. As we increase the amount of transportation we have, and the more we urbanize, and as the population increases, the more our oil consumption is going to go up. And so, here is a map around the world of who's producing oil. So, here in the United States, we have Canada, we have OPEC. And so, we are not the only people who are using oil or making oil, and neither is OPEC, but those are the big players in the field. Beyond oil, there are other syn fuels like we talked about before. Syn fuel you can synthesize from coal by, fluidizing it and using it as a synthetic fuel. And it can be used in place of oil or natural gas because coal is a lot more available to us. But again, it also is, dirty. So other resources that we can extract oil and other fossil fuels from: tar sands, oil shales, gas hydrates. So there are other sources other than just straight petroleum and natural gas, but there's some sort of iteration thereof. So oil sands and tar sands, they actually are right. They are viscous in this shale. So shale is a rock, and so when you heat it up, the oil becomes more free to flow, and so we can extract it that way. Um, and like I said, right, the high viscosity relies on two techniques. So first you actually have to pull the shale from the ground like an actual mining, like a coal, right? And then you actually have to, you actually then have to heat that rock up, or you can heat the rock up in situ in the environment and then pump the oil out. Oil shale is really fine grained rock, so it's not, it is, I'm sorry, it is, it's a mixture of hydrocarbons called kerogen. And so it can be crushed and vaporized, and then the kerogen vapor is made into oil. So it's kind of an extensive process, but we need our oil because that's what our world runs on. We have a lot of it around the world. It's just locked up in rock, though. So if you think about what we need to do to the environment in order to extract it, it's quite expensive. Tar sand is a mixture of clay and sand and bitumen, right? So that is that high sulfur coal. I'm sorry, that's bituminous coal. So it's, the words are similar because it's high sulfur. So the bitumen is high sulfur oil. And so the bitumen is removed by heating the sand until it actually starts softening and floats to the surface. So again, increasing the viscosity and relying on densities to extract those possible fossil fuels.